your knees. So lying down in this position and having blocks under your knees to support you if you need them is very comfortable. I know even though my knees open really wide, it starts to strain on my hip flexors after a while, so the blocks are really nice. And put them on whatever height that you need them, and if you don't need them, that's okay too. Whatever feels most comfortable for you. So as you lie back, begin to connect with your belly breath. We're going to be working with Pitta, which is part of Ayurveda. And we've just moved into Pitta season, which is fire and water. And I think we're going to be feeling a lot of sweat, fire and water this next week with the heat that we're having. And so we're going to be working with a more moderate pace and remembering that less is more. And as you connect to your breath, I invite you to really focus on your exhales, which helps us to find a little bit more calming, a little bit more ease, and begin to find some spaciousness in your breath, in your heart center, as you connect with your breath. So as summer begins to heat up, our bodies can begin to heat up as well. And we can become more intense. And that intensity can come into the mind, into the liver. And our practice is meant to ease the emotions of anger and resentment that we can be prone to if we're high pitta at this time of year especially. So we'll be working with postures that affect your liver and your spleen, and the posture you're in right now works with the channels that are related to Pitta. So breathe deep into the hip flexors, into the low belly, and follow your exhale with your mind's eye. And begin to connect with your ujjayi breath. And as we move through our practice today, see if you can be less in your head and more in your body, in your breath, and move with a little less intensity than we might on a cooler day. Let's take 3 more breaths here in Supta Baddha Konasana. Nice deep inhales all the way into the low belly. And begin to use that ujjayi breath to slow the breath down. And then you can either make your way to a seat, or if this is feeling really good and you want to stay here for a little bit, we're going to do Satali breath, which is a cooling pranayama breath. You can do it on your back, or you can do it seated. So choose where you want to be. So if you remember from last week, Satali breath is that curling of the tongue, so that as you inhale through your mouth, through the moistness of your tongue, it cools the breath. So either curling your tongue like a straw lengthwise, or curling the tip back and inhaling through the sides of the tongue, and then exhaling out the nose. So And we'll do 6 rounds of Satali. And as you continue breathing through the moistness of the tongue by curling your tongue, begin to feel almost a cooling sensation in the head, beginning to cool and calm the thoughts, cooling the internal organs. When you've done your 6 rounds of Satali breath, you can roll to your side, press up, and make your way onto hands and knees. So we're going to do just 3 rounds of cat-cow, and again, really focusing on the exhale as you move through. So starting with cow, opening the heart, opening the front body, which provides us some cooling. And then exhaling, drawing the belly in, dropping the head, closing the eyes, releasing the intensity of the eyes, and just moving with your breath. Using your Ujjayi breath here. On your 3rd breath, as you move into cow pose, the exhale is going to move you into child's pose. So we're going to oscillate between 3 poses. Your inhale breath, come back up into cow pose, opening the heart. Curl your toes under. The exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, drop the knees, cow pose. The exhale, child's pose. So cow pose being every inhale. And then oscillating between dog and child's pose. So moving into dog for this one. And just keep moving with your speed of breath. Using cow for your inhale as the knees drop. And then child's pose in the next round, downward facing dog. And let those exhales especially begin to slow down. That brings us into that calming nervous system. And these 3 poses. Beginning to warm up the spine and the body without creating too much heat. The next round that you arrive in downward facing dog, we're going to stay in down dog for 3 breaths. So as you're all on a different speed of breath, just land in down dog when it's time for you to take that posture, and then stay. And you can walk it out a little bit, getting into any tension in the arches and the calves, the hamstrings. And use your inhales to lift the sit bones high, lift the pelvis up off the waist. And really find length in your side body as you press the top of the mat away, as we work a lot with the side body today. And then we're going to come forward and find our way onto our bellies. So you can move through knees, chin, chest. I'm going to say refrain from chaturanga today, just because we're not trying to create extra heat. And we're going to move in and out of cobra pose 3 times. And notice as you move into cobra with your inhale, the pressure on the belly as the pelvis roots down, the tops of the feet root down. It just helps to calm the fires within. Keep moving in and out of your cobra pose, elbows in close to the body. And just aware of the cooling and compression of the belly. And after you've done your 3, you'll press up and back into child's pose once again. And if you're able, if your shoulders allow, in your child's pose, come into extended child's pose with your up on your fingertips. And then walk your hands over to the right side so that we can expand the left side body. You might even lean a little over to the left to create a little more expansion in that left side body. So as your hands walk over to the right, you can shift a little bit onto your left hip. And then walk back to center and over to the left. And if you want to shift over to your right shin, right hip a little more, you can, or just stay in center, whatever feels best for you. But we're just working into that side body. And then coming back to center. Rising up on an inhale and exhaling into downward facing dog. Take 1 inhale in your down dog, and we use the exhale to walk or step to the top of your mat. Inhaling, lifting the heart halfway. And exhaling, bow down. Inhale, rise up. And draw into your heart center. So we're going to move through sort of, I call them moon salutations, a little bit softer and slower than the sun salutations. Again, working for that cooling. So inhaling to reach up. Exhale, hands to your sacrum. Inhale, lift the heart. And exhale, we bow forward. Slide your hands down your calves. Inhale, up the shins, lift halfway. Exhale, bow, step the right foot back, coming into a lunge. Lift the heart forward as we press the heel back. Take an inhale and use your slow exhale to move into reverse lunge. You can use blocks under your hands here. Inhale back to the top of your mat in your starting position lunge. And then exhale, turn your feet to the long side of your mat. Take an inhale and center. Exhale, bend the right knee into side lunge. Inhale to center. Exhale, left knee. And just moving from side to side, we're getting into the liver channels here in the inner thighs, helping to cool. And then when you come bending into the left, we're going to pivot back to the top of our mat. Take an inhale, exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale forward to plank. Drop your knees onto your belly again for that calming, cooling sensation on the belly as we inhale, rise, cobra. 3 times for our cobra. Exhale, back down. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, back down. One last one. And then press up and back, child's pose. On the exhale, the inhale, we rise up. Curl the toes under, downward facing dog. Let's float right leg up to the sky. As we exhale, stepping that foot up between your hands for our lunge on our second side. So again, inhaling to lengthen the heart forward. Exhaling, reverse lunge. Inhale forward. And exhale it back. And then pivoting to the long side of your mat once again. Bending into the left as we exhale. Inhaling to center. Exhaling right. One more time to the left. Inhaling to center. And as we exhale into the right, we pivot to the top of our mat. Stepping back, downward facing dog. Come down to child's pose. Inhale, up cow. Exhale, down dog. Take one more inhale. And the exhale, step or walk to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, rise up. And draw into your heart center. Take a moment in mountain pose. Just feeling, maybe you feel heat rising in your body, as it tends to do. See if you can soften your eyes. And even though we're staying connected to Ujjayi breath, see if you can soften the intensity of your breath. And then we're going to move into tree pose. So you might find something to look at out in the distance, a tree, the forest. As we bring weight into the left foot, hands can be on your hips. Bending the right knee. And I'm going to steal from Ben's class the other day. Everybody's going to start at your ankle. I told him I was stealing this. So while we've got your toes are still on the ground and you're just at your ankle, draw that left hip in and up. So we're nice and tall and open and expansive. And then if you decide, you might slide your foot up your shin and stay here for a breath or two, and then decide if you want to use your hand to bring it all the way up to your thigh. And choosing any of those 3 stops along the way. And then if it feels all right for you, make your tree expansive. We're looking for spaciousness and expansiveness in our postures today, and dissipating that heat, that excess pitta. And think of the trees, how they cool the air as you expand into your tree. Taking one more breath. And then slowly and calmly making your way back into mountain pose. Take a nice big breath and exhale it out nice and slow. And then let's move into our second side. So bringing weight into the right foot, bending the left, start at your ankle. And use this to really ground into your standing foot and draw that right hip in and up and lengthen up. Heart is lifted. And then decide, maybe you stay here, maybe you slide your foot to your calf. Stay here for a breath or two, see what this feels like. And maybe you stay here, or maybe you bring it all the way up to the thigh. And then expand that tree, become spacious. Let your leaves cool you. Stay connected to your breath. And you let your next exhale slowly bring you back to mountain pose. And release. Take a breath or two in your mountain pose. I don't know if it works that far, but I'm trying to train him to not bark in the crate. Don't fall out of your tree pose, I'll zap you. Okay, from the top of your mat. Actually, you know what? Put your blocks at the top of your mat now, because as we progress, I'm going to move you into some postures that will need them. And you know me, I'll forget to tell you to put your blocks at the top of your mat. And Ben, if you want blocks, I actually brought I brought blocks for public use today. So you can grab one if you wish. So let's inhale and reach up to the sky. And exhale, bow down. Oh, that breeze just felt so nice. It just blew in. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, bow down. Step your left foot back, pivoting your foot down onto the mat. And then inhale, rise up for warrior one. So lifting your heart and allowing your body, especially the front body, to be open and expansive. And then let's circle the arms wide, hands to your heart center, and open for warrior two. And allowing the hands to float up. And check in with your shoulders. See where you can release some intensity in this posture and find some ease. Sometimes we're tensing things that don't need to be tense to be in this posture. And maybe it's your eyes. Find a little bit of ease. And then inhale, peaceful warrior. So front arm goes up. Yeah. And then exhale, side angle. You notice we're not going to hold these postures for long. We're just finding some length in the side body here. So let's move back into peaceful warrior. So the right arm reaches up. Making space in that side body, working with those channels of Pitta. Exhale, side angle. Nice and slow transitions here. We're not rushing. Just creating spaciousness. One more time, peaceful warrior. And exhale, side angle. Beautiful. This time we inhale, come up, turn your toes to the long side of your mat. Hands to your hips, thumbs toward your spine. Inhale, lift the heart. And allow that opening of the front body to dissipate some of that heat. And then exhale, slowly fold forward, slide your hands down your hamstrings to your ankles, your toes, or your shins. And bring your awareness to your exhales here. Our forward folding poses tend to calm the nervous system. So let's take 2 more breaths here in our forward fold. Nice slow exhales. 1 more breath. And then you can begin to lift your heart, slide your hands up your legs to your hips, come all the way up. And just take a moment's pause here. Moving energy without creating excess heat. Turn your right toes back to the top of your mat. We're moving into triangle, and we're going to do it a little bit differently. So starting with your legs straight, little micro bend in the back of that knee. Reach your right arm long. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, bring your hand to your shin or your ankle. Extend your left hand straight out behind you. And as you inhale, reach it up either to the traditional spot or continue overhead, creating space in that side body. Stay here for another inhale. And then exhale, bring it back parallel, out behind you. Inhale, reach your right hand straight out in front of you. Fill it with air and come all the way up into reverse triangle. So we're going to do that same sequence again. Exhale, bring the hand down. Inhale, left arm goes overhead or straight up if that's not appropriate for you. Exhale, bring that hand parallel behind you. Inhale, fill the right hand, come all the way up, reverse triangle. Last one, exhale. Inhale, reach overhead. Exhale, hand comes back behind you. Inhale, feel that hand come all the way up. And release your both hands down. Turn your toes to the long side of your mat. Take a pause here in your wide stance. And then hands to your hips. Take an inhale, exhale. We begin to fold forward. Releasing your hands either to your blocks or to your mat. And we're going to start by reaching our hands either on your blocks or on the floor as long as you can, as though you were in downward facing dog, but you're up on your fingertips. So sending your sit bones opposite direction of your hands, creating lots of length in your side body. And as you inhale, maybe create even more length. Take one more inhale, lengthening, and then as you exhale, walk your hands back towards your feet, hands to your hips, and then slowly rise up. Pause once again here. Turn your toes to the top of your mat. Hands come down. Let's step back, downward facing dog. Coming forward to plank, lowering down to the belly for cobra. If you really feel like you have to do a chaturanga and an up dog, you can do one, but these cobras with a belly down are really good for excess pitta. So let's do our 3 cobras again. And as you complete your 3rd one, take one more inhale and exhale back, child's pose. Use the inhale to rise into cow, just like we did at the beginning. Exhale, down dog. Let's inhale, left leg, left leg up to the sky. Exhale, step it up between your hands, pivot the back foot down. We're going to rise up for warrior 1 on our 2nd side. Nice and expansive. Circle your arms wide and bring them to your heart center. Open for warrior 2. And again, see where you can find a little ease, maybe softening your shoulders down, a little less intensity in your eyes. Finding your breath, awareness to your exhale. And let's move in and out of peaceful warrior. Inhale, peaceful warrior. And we exhale into side angle 3 times with this transition. Really paying attention to the length and breadth of the side body on both of these poses. So they create side body space in different ways. One creates length, one creates openness. So we're doing this transition 3 times with your breath. And then as we come back up, straightening the front leg, let's move into facing the long side of your mat once again.
Were you going to do the triangle?
Yeah, we're going to come back to triangle. I'm just going to give you a thank you for reminding me after last week's fiasco. I was going to go straight there, but I thought I'd give your front leg a break. You can intertwine your fingers if you wish, or just grab opposite elbows, or keep hands on your hip, whatever works best for you for this one. So opening the heart, whichever variation you're doing, whichever hand mudra, and exhale, folding forward. And release tension in your neck so that the top of the head spills towards the earth here. One more breath. Complete inhale, complete exhale. And then leading with your heart, begin to rise up. Release your hands, take a moment's pause. And then turn your toes, your left toes to the top of your mat. And we're moving into our triangle now. I actually, if I have to admit, I can remember if we did this one and came back to triangle the first round, or we went right back. So float your arms up. Take an inhale, lengthen. Exhale, let that hand drop. Turn the right palm up to the sky. It's still parallel to the floor. And as we inhale, either reach it up to the classic triangle pose, up to the sky, or reach it overhead. Exhale, back behind you, parallel. Inhale, fill that front arm. Come all the way up into reverse triangle. And 2 more rounds like that. Exhale. Inhale, top arm reaches up and over. Looking towards that side body. Exhale, back behind you, parallel. Fill the front arm. Come all the way up. Reverse triangle. Last one. Exhale, front arm comes down. Inhale, reach over, either up and over or up. Exhale, parallel to the floor behind you. Fill the front arm on your inhale and come all the way up. And release down. Turn your feet parallel to the long side once again and just pause here. Even close your eyes and feel into your feet, into your body. Maybe you can feel that cooling breeze on your skin. And then turn your left toes to the top of your mat. And let's just step to the top of our mat here. Coming into mountain pose. So with your blocks at the top of your mat, I'm going to pretend I have blocks. You have them on either side of the long side of your mat. Oh, shoot. Wouldn't you know it? My son calling from Australia in the middle of a class. No, it's FaceTime. I can't. No, I can't. I can't. Ben, just jump right in. I'll just tell him, hi. I'm in the middle of teaching a yoga class and everybody's telling me to answer the phone, so I did. Hi, Mateo. You say hi to everybody? Are you going to be shy? I just knew you were going to call me in the middle of yoga class tonight. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Is there any chance you could call me in 45 minutes? Or you guys, I don't know what time it is there.
I'm going to try to have him take a nap, so maybe.
Oh, okay. What time is it there?
I'll call you tomorrow. It's noon. It's 11.
11 p.m.? A.M.?
A.M.
I can't really talk right now as much as I want to. Call me in a little bit. Yeah. Just call me later when he wakes up from his nap.
Okay.
I'll be up. Even if you wake me, it's fine. Okay, bye.
Sounds good. Goodbye.
Sorry, I can't talk. I feel very awkward. Anyway, where was I? Blocks at the top of your mat. Starting with your right foot, we're going to step that right foot back. So bending your knees, stepping the right foot back, 45-degree angle, so that your hips are facing forward. Maybe a little bit, your back foot in a little bit more than we would if we were doing Warrior One. We'll start with hands on your hips and just, oh God, what is going on? I'm so sorry.
Hello? Hello?
Oh God, now it's my watch.
Oh, okay.
I'm hanging up on you, okay? Okay, bye. My watch is talking now. I promise we're going somewhere with this. Ben, you could have done this pose. At least the beginning of it anyhow. So hands on the hips. We begin to lift the heart and allowing that dissipation of the heat. And often when our Pitta is high, we begin to become very intense and focused and myopic. And so as we lift our hearts up, imagining that expansive sky above us, It allows us to become a little more expansive in our minds, and then slowly come back to center. You can take your left hand, back of your hand to your sacrum, inhale the right hand up to the sky. And really reach through the elbow and create length in that right side body. That's where our liver is. So we're going to create some length, press strongly into both feet. Keep really long and keep reaching, reaching, reaching. Just bringing the torso parallel to the floor. Micro bend in that front knee. Keep reaching here. Take one more inhale, get a little bit longer. And then as you exhale, release that right hand down to your block or to your mat. Let your body fold over that front leg. So your left hand is still on your sacrum. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, go ahead and fold. Still pressing into both feet. We inhale halfway, fingertips either on your mat or your block. We're going to exhale and begin to twist to your left in revolved triangle. Keep pressing into both feet. Pressing into both feet. You're creating the twist from the navel center, twisting. If you wish to reach your left arm up to the sky, you can. Or you can keep that hand on your sacrum. Two more breaths here in our revolved triangle. Draw your hips toward one another. And then release your left hand down, bend that front knee, and find downward facing dog. So option to stay in down dog and walk that out. That can be very intense for some of us. Or child's pose, or come forward to plank and move through a vinyasa, perhaps using cobra for cooling of the body and calming of the belly. And we'll all press back into child's pose when you're ready. And just take a moment to allow the breath and the body to calm. And then when you're ready, inhale up into cow pose. Exhale into downward facing dog. Take one nice lengthening breath, really paying attention to the side body as you lift the pelvis up off the waist. And as you exhale, step or walk to the top of your mat. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhaling, bow. And inhale to rise up, reach up, look up, and draw into your heart center. And release. So moving into second side, stepping left foot back. Correct? I've kind of lost with the phone call. I kind of lost where I was. So again, that same angle. We'll start with, what did you call it? Stargazer. I love that name. I've never heard that name before. So start by lifting your heart. And again, even though we can't see the sky because of our lovely roof here, imagine that we're out and you can see the sky, the blue sky, the clouds. And if it was night, you would see that beautiful, almost full moon. And makes us realize that our small little things that we're so focused on are not that important. And then come back to center. Right hand, back of the hand to the sacrum. Left arm reaches up and really lengthen through that whole left side body. Left elbow reaches as you inhale, and then as we exhale, we continue reaching and lengthening, continue reaching, lengthening, till your body is parallel to the floor. Keep pressing into both feet. Inhale, reach a little bit longer one more time. And then exhale, allow that left hand to come down to your block or fingertips to your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold over that front leg, micro bend in that right knee. And now we inhale to a straight spine, fingertips either on your block or your mat so that your spine's parallel to the floor again, nice and long. And exhale, we begin to twist right. And you can keep that right hand on your sacrum if you wish, or extend it up to the sky. Keep drawing the hips in towards your midline. And the twist is originating from the belly, from the navel center. Stay with your inhale and exhale here. One more breath. And allow the exhale to bring the right hand down. Bend your front knee and find downward facing dog. So again, this will be your last chance for a vinyasa. If you wish to flow through and maybe do cobra, and if you're really itching to do an up dog because we haven't really done one today, go ahead and do that and meet back either down dog or child's pose. On your next inhale, we're going to rise up onto the knees for camel pose, which is a great pose for dissipating heat and excess energy in the solar plexus, the fire. So maybe today you don't do your biggest, most expansive camel. Maybe we make it a little less intense. You might have your toes curled under, or you might have blocks beside your shins to lean on, or just have your hands, thumbs towards your sacrum, fingers wrapping around your hips, and just inhale and lift the heart, just like we did in Stargazer pose before we moved into our pyramid and triangle pose. So guiding the tailbone down towards the earth as we lift the heart up. If you feel like you want to reach for your heels, go for it. Otherwise, keep your hands on the sacrum. Feel the nice expansive breath, allowing the heat to escape those internal organs. And then, using the strength of your core, come back to center. You might sit down on your heels. You might just move straight into child's pose, whatever feels most appropriate for me, for you. I'm going to say for me. This isn't never comfortable. But take whatever works for your body. Take a few breaths into your back body here in your child's pose. And then making your way to a seat. When you're ready, we'll all meet there. And we're going to work with some twists. Twists are really good for dissipating excess pitta. Start with your feet out in front of you. And just sitting up nice and tall in Dandasana. You can have your hands beside your hips if you wish. We're going to do that awkward twist that we did one other day, because if we never do it, nobody's going to get better at it. But it's a nice open twist to help dissipate the heat. So let's draw that right leg in. And this foot is going to stay right where it is. Your right arm is going to come inside that knee. Your left hand can support you out behind you. So as long as you can get that arm inside your knee, you're golden. You can place that right hand down, just kind of out to the diagonal in front of your right foot. Yeah, you got it, Marilyn. And you can squeeze that leg into your arm even though your arm's pushing it out. And some of you are going to stay right here and you're going to twist to your left. Some of you are going to lean forward a little bit more and wrap that arm around your shin. So it's like you turn your palm up to the sky with your thumb to the right and wrap around. So if you can get your knee close to your armpit, that's what you'll do. If you can't, then you're staying right here and you're twisting left. And you're kind of using your arm and your leg as leverage to twist left. So it's very open, trying to keep your spine tall in the beginning here. So you're not trying to fold forward, not yet. We will fold forward later. but keeping open for dissipation of the heat. And the twist is from the navel center. Take one more breath here in your open twist. And then we come back to center. Now, whether or not you have your hand on the floor or you're wrapped around in your bind, reach through the ball of your foot and begin to fold forward any amount, even if it's just a centimeter. So you might just be like this or like this. But you're looking for, rather than the twist, a little bit of a forward fold. And then come back up. Release that leg straight out in front of you. Shake it out a little bit, adjust. And let's do left side. And one side might be easier, one side might be harder. And if it's really intense, sit like this and try to sit up nice and tall and twist to your right, holding on to wrapping your arm around your leg like this rather than this. So play with it and see what works best for you. If this is just not happening, just sit up really tall here and twist. Or here, or here. There's lots of places to play with this pose, but what we're really looking for is openness in the front body as we twist. So we're working with the liver and internal organs and dissipating heat in this open twist. For one more breath. And then we come back to center. Take a moment in center, and then we'll do the forward fold, and maybe your hand position changes for your forward fold. Maybe you walk that left foot out a little bit to give you a little more space for this. And maybe it looks just like this. So it's opening in the hip if you're really tight in the hips as well. And maybe it looks like this, or maybe it looks like, I don't know, my arms are so long I don't know what to do with them. Sometimes when I'm shopping, I would like to, Marilyn. And then release and come back up. Send both feet out in front of you. Shake that out a little bit. We're going to move into another twist. So that was kind of preparing us for the next pose that we're going to do, which is revolved heart to knee pose, or Parvrita Janu Sirsasana, which I know you're all going to remember that name. So we're going to start with our left leg is straight, right foot is bent like tree pose. And then we're going to start to turn our body towards that bent leg. So your torso is turning towards the bent leg. Your left hand is coming inside of that straight leg. And so depending on how your body is proportioned, and maybe it's just like this, and maybe you're twisting like this. Or some of you might get your forearm down, some of you might grab a toe. But we're working in the inside, because what we're doing is now we're twisting to the right. And you can have your hand on your hip as you twist right, and it might look like this. Might be down here. If this feels really comfortable and you're not feeling a ton of sensation, you might reach that right hand up to the sky. And keep rotating as though you're looking up to the sky and you're trying to turn those right ribs up to the sky. And some of you might even reach overhead towards your toe. But don't force it. Just giving you options. Take the one that's most appropriate for you. So you should feel this in your back area. And we're really creating space in the right side body, which is where your liver is, which is related to Pitta and excess heat and anger and irritability. Now if you can stay in whatever variation you are in for one more breath. And then slowly, this pose can be really intense for some of us. So come out of the pose slowly and mindfully, a little bit at a time. You're in a twist and a forward fold here. So come out slow. And then when you're ready, release both feet out in front. I hurt my back last night. I was up on Meditation Hill. I don't know why every summer I get spunky and try to do headstands without a wall. Didn't go well. Somehow I landed really hard and my QL ligament's been really tense. So this feels really good for me is where I was going with that. So let's do our other side. Left leg in. And I do exactly the same thing every year. I fall over. Blunk. I don't know why. So turning the body towards the bent knee. Release that right hand inside your shin or onto your shin, whatever is available to you. And now we begin to turn the whole body to the left, as though you're trying to turn your heart and your left side ribs up to the sky. Even though we're creating length in the right side body. So we don't want to collapse, we want to keep length here as well. So we're not scrunching. And then decide if you want to reach the left arm up or if you want to reach it overhead. It brings a lot more intensity into that left side body if you reach it overhead. So just be mindful and keep rotating up to the sky. Nice breath into that left side body all the way down to the hip. And imagine the excess heat from your internal organs dissipating out into that very gentle breeze we can feel here. And then your next breath, begin to slowly and mindfully make your way up out of your twist and your forward fold. Releasing both legs out in front of you. Adjusting, maybe shaking that out. And then bringing your legs wide. This is another pose that's really good for Pitta. Again, working with those energy channels. So you can have a micro bend in your knees here. And if you have something to put under it, you can do that too. And you can support yourself, either hands in front of you or hands behind you. And flex your toes, so your toes point up to the sky. If I'm not paying attention, mine point forward. So just have them pointing the center of your thigh, your toes pointing straight up to the sky. Now, if you have the space and you want to bring your hands in front, or you want to begin to fold forward, you can. But majority of us here are probably going to stay more upright, right? But you have that option if that's in your repertoire of what your body is able to do. Play with it. Or else just stay here. Because if you're staying here, chances are you're already feeling a lot in your hamstrings and in your inner thighs, right? Yeah. So this is absolutely fine. And try to keep your spine tall. Your eyes soft. Heels ground down. 2 more breaths here. And then we're going to, you can use your hands behind your knees, bring your feet together into Baddha Konasana and let your knees open. Same thing, you can have your hands here to support you. And sometimes this feels good to rock from side to side. You can have your hands on your feet. And some of you might want to fold forward. Again, options. Choose what's most appropriate for you. There's no gold stars for doing any one particular version over the other. Just do what works for you. And then using your hands, the knees come up. And just take a moment's pause with a nice tall, straight spine here. And now as we lie down on our back, we're going to do a couple rounds of bridge pose. And then move into a variation of shoulder stand. So you can actually, if shoulder stand's in your practice, you can move into shoulder stand. Your shoulder stand might look, which between you guys and the camera, someone's going to have to see my butt, sorry. So your shoulder stand might just be this with your feet up and your arms wide. You might also have my invisible block under your hips with legs up. Or you might be in a shoulder stand that's not necessarily completely vertical, but your hips are a little further away from your chest. So not a really intense shoulder stand. So choose, go ahead and lie down on your back. Have your blocks handy if you're going to place a block under your sacrum as you lie down. And let's just start, we'll move in and out of bridge pose 3 times. So just kind of resetting the pelvis before we move into, and opening the heart a little bit before we move into your shoulder stand variation. So hands can be by your side, palms facing inward, and inhaling to lift the pelvis up, rolling the shoulders under, and use your exhale to release down, palms facing up. Inhale, roll it up. And exhale, slowly release down. And then last one. So now if you want to have a block under your hips as you move, lift your legs up, you can lift up into bridge, place your block underneath your sacrum, and then reach the soles of the feet up to the sky. If you're choosing shoulder stand, go ahead and move into that variation of shoulder stand. We just want an elevation. Shoulder stand is traditionally a cooling inversion. And that's what we're looking for right now. I like it because with all this heat that we're having, we often collect a lot of fluid in our ankles and our feet and our legs. And so it's nice to reverse gravity as well. So see if you can stay here for 10 breaths. Nice slow breaths, really focusing on your exhales here still. And whether you get to your 10 breaths or you feel like you need to move out of it before your 10 breaths, move out slowly when it's time for you. And as you move slowly, bringing one foot down, the other foot down with knees bent, pause there for a moment before you lift your hips up to remove your block. And then once you remove your block, just settle with knees bent, pelvis on your mat, letting everything adjust and shift. And then we'll do one final twist before we move into Shavasana. So bringing the arms wide and expansive, straight out from your shoulders. And you can either keep your feet on the ground or lift your shins parallel to the floor as we move into our twist with knees moving over to the right side. So whichever is more appropriate for your low back or your hips. And allow this to feel open and expansive and spacious. And if you need a block either between your legs or under your bottom knee, go ahead and use your block for that. And on your next inhale breath, whenever that arises for you, move back to center and use your exhale breath to move into the other side. Use your next inhale breath to come back to center. Maybe give yourself a hug, rock from side to side. Any last minute things that you need to do. And then move into Shavasana. And let your Shavasana be very open. Let your legs be wide. Let your arms come away from your sides. Let your palms turn up. And allow your breath to settle. Allow yourself to delight in the spaciousness that you're feeling in this moment. Perhaps delight in the breeze on your skin. And finding ease in your Shavasana. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. As you bring gentle awareness back into the body. Bringing small movements as you rouse your body while holding on to that feeling of ease and relaxation. Making your way into fetal position when you're ready. And then finding your way to a seat for some cooling pranayama before we close. So we're going to do something that is called Chandra Vedana, which is basically a little bit like alternate nostril breath, but we're only inhaling through the left nostril and exhaling through the right nostril. And it's sometimes called moon breath. Chandra means moon. And so it's a cooling, calming version of alternate nostril breath. So you'll do it the same as we do alternate nostril, bringing your two index and middle finger down to your palm, using your ring finger and your thumb. So starting by blocking the right nostril as we inhale through the left. And then at the top of your breath, switch and exhale out the right. Block the right, inhale left. Switch to exhale right. Block the right as you inhale left. Switch to exhale right. Block the right and inhale left. Switch to exhale right. Do 2 more rounds like that in your own speed. Continuing to inhale only through the left and exhale only through the right. And as you complete those last 2 rounds, just let your hands come down to your knees and sit with eyes closed, just noticing. Or you can look out to the view in front of you, either or. And then we're going to do 6 more rounds of satali that we did at the beginning, lying down. So again, either curling your tongue lengthwise like a straw, or drawing the tip of the tongue back so that you are breathing through the side of the tongue, whichever one is available to you. So 6 rounds, inhaling through the tongue, closing the mouth to exhale through the nose. 5 more rounds. And feel that cooling sensation of the breath as it travels through your tongue, the moistness. And perhaps begin to feel that cooling sensation in the head, where the heat rises to on these hot days to help us cool our thoughts, cooling the organs. Whenever you've completed your 6 rounds, just sit in stillness for a few rounds of breath. Just noticing. Notice your thoughts. And then slowly bring your hands to your heart center. Take a deep inhale through the nose and exhale out your mouth. And take one more inhale to Om to seal our practice. Om. Let your eyes gently flutter open, keeping your gaze soft. Namaste, 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 namaste. Not only did you hopefully dissipate some heat, but the weather has cooled down too. So now we're not going to be all fiery and angry. Burning out our livers. Well, I hope